Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Old Guy Farmers Challenge. This is episode 20. We are in the second game day of winter, year one. So let's go ahead and jump on in. Now we do have a bit of mod selection to do. I have been busy hunting down some mods that I want to make use of. We're going to have a little bit of a fleet swap, I think. So let's forget where they are. So we're just going to have to slowly scroll down through here. We're going to pick him because we are going to use him later. So let's see here. I can't have the game. We're not going to need that. I thought we would use that trailer to possibly transport slow equipment around, but I have found another trailer which will fit two bills with one trailer, if you will. So we're going to pick that one up here as soon as we find it. Here it is. This wonderful trailer is a bale trailer with auto load, and it has ramps out the back so we can load up vehicles. The only downside is it's a dolly, so we're not going to be backing this thing up much. It's going to be pull through. And we've got one more. If I can find it real quick. It's not it. Because I've seen several of the contestants use this Ergo instead of the Scorpion. And it seemed to have some pretty good camera angles, and it has the benefit of being cheaper, and pretty much does the same thing. So why not get it? Alrighty. Hey Ed, hey Stomp Games 47, how y'all doing? We're just picking some mods that we're going to bring into the challenge. We're going to have a little bit of a equipment swap out at some point. All right, it's 34 degrees. What do we need to do? We need to... Do we need to... Well, we might as well care for a sheep. I'm pretty sure we did this right before we left the stream last night, or the other day, but we'll just go ahead and clean up after them. Let's see here. Did we also established that we can't fertilize anything? Is that correct? Yeah, we pretty much have established we can't fertilize anything. So there's no need to do any of that. Let's check our food situation with our animals. Alright, they're going to need water and grass and hay before the end of the day. But we're going to take advantage of our ability to run a mission. Let's just check. We have no field job income for today. Just wanted to make sure that we have not done a mission. Let's check this one out. This is a plowing mission. It's going to bring us in $10,000. I want to check over here. This one's going to $207,000 by James Harris. Who owns this one here? Robert Cook. We're going to do this mission. So we're plowing this field because I have every intention of buying this field, and we've already fertilized it. Now we're going to plow it. So the benefit is we are getting paid to plow this field. Then we're going to buy it, and it's already going to be plowed, which is awesome. There is no way that that plow is that wide. I am so very sorry. line you up and see how wide you actually are. I don't know how wide you are, but we're gonna narrow you down. Let's see if that works. Oh, no way. Did I actually guess that? I think I might have actually guessed that. Let's scoot you over a little bit more. So the Ergo looks just like the Ponzi there, except it has two big wheels in the back if you haven't seen it. The front wheels steer. So this is a Valtra, isn't it? This is a Valtra. The Massey 87, I have a Massey 8700 mod, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. I'm pretty sure I use it over on Serenity Valley. That tractor, I believe, is too big. Hey, Jimmy. That tractor, I believe, is too big for this challenge. If you're not familiar with this challenge, we are prohibited by using tractors greater than 250 horsepower. Of course, mission tractors don't count because they're not owned by us, but we are prohibited in owning a tractor greater than 250 horsepower. So I wouldn't be able to use a Massey 8700 in this map, but I'm pretty sure I've got an 8700 in my mods folder. So back on the Ergo. So the Ergo is has front wheel steering. It has one big back wheel, which is rather interesting. And it instead of having, as you know, the Scorpion has multiple camera angles, and one of them is like on the actual arm. But the Ergo has a camera that's kind of positioned a little bit back toward the cab, kind of in space, so it gives it a little better, I guess, visual angle if you want some out of cab by the cutting arm. It's also about $100,000 cheaper than the Scorpion. It's a little bit cheaper on its daily maintenance than the Scorpion. So I went ahead and put that in the mods folder. I saw a couple other contestants, including Old Guy Farmer, using it. So we're going to continue to use the Scorpion this winter. There's no reason to sell it now. We're just going to continue to use it this winter. But come mid-spring, when we sell the Scorpion, when we buy it back, or we basically buy the... Alright, see you later, Stomp Games. Basically, when we buy the next time we buy a Ponzi, it will be the Ergo. I don't plan on buying the Ponzi again until basically the day 1 of winter year 2, because I suspect with the fields that we have now, fields 11, 12, 14, 15, 23, and 24, and in addition to fields 26 here that we are going to pick up, we will have enough grass to keep us busy, I think, from the start of, probably from late spring until the end of autumn. Because what I'm hoping to be able to do is literally go from field to field with mowing and baling, and by the time we are at the last field, the first field's ready to be cut again, and then we just start the process over. And hopefully we can start that process over 3 times. And if we can do 3 complete cuts on all of our fields, I'm shooting for 600 bales next year, as opposed to the 300 and some that we got this year. So the Scorpion's out and the Ergo will be in next time we do that purchase. We're going to sell our flatbed semi-trailer at some point today and pick up that other bale trailer. That other bale trailer has the capacity of holding 42 round bales, so it's less trips from the barn or from the field to our storage location. It's less trips from our storage locations to the sale barn. Less strips obviously means that we can do more things like cutting trees or baling. It also has rear ramps. So what we can do with that is obviously transport our incredibly slow Ford across the map at decent speed. So the way I see it is we can basically do the Big M, set him to basically drive the Big M, set our truck to follow the Big M with the baler and the Ford on the back, possibly over to the cow area, for example. It will take significantly less time to get over there. And then when we're done, we can obviously transport our bales back, come back, pick up the Ford, and bring it back on the trailer. So the trailer serves two purposes. Jim A says, how long is the challenge? The challenge is 72 episodes, or 72 game days. 3 full season years using 6-day seasons at 15 times speed. So a day goes by very fast. Basically at 15 times speed, 1 game hour is the equivalent of 4 real life minutes. So if you sit around and are indecisive as to what you need to do, you could have conceivably burnt a whole hour. Ed asks, why not just have the Big M pull the baler? I thought about that, but the Big M costs me a ton of money to operate per hour, and to pull the round baler, it would be so much stop and go. I think I would spend way too much time basically running the Big M, going like 30 feet and stopping, waiting for the baler to wrap, going another 30 feet and stopping, whereas I could use the Big M, mow the field very quickly, park it, and then bale, then collect the bales, and then move on. So I saw it as a way of basically cutting the field faster and not using 2 tractors and 2 mowers and hired help to do the mowing, and then also having to do the windrowing, because the Big M will do that for you. And I thought that basically, I did some tests on another map, and it was like, you know, start mowing, count to 5, stop, count to 10, wait for the baler to end, stop wrapping, go forward, count to 5, stop, and it was just crazy. Plus, the Big M, if you think about it, is a little bit of a cheat on the 250 horsepower if you use it to pull the baler. And that's because the Big M, I think, has like 500 horsepower. And you could argue that the Big M is a grass harvester, no different than a grain harvester, in that it's a specialty purpose piece of equipment that is therefore exempt from the horsepower requirement, similar to the way that trucks are exempt. The Ponzi is exempt from the 250 horsepower. If you use it to pull the baler, are you then basically making it like a tractor and therefore kind of cheating that 250 rule? So if we only use it to cut grass and not pull the baler, then we are basically using it as a grass harvester, no different than a grain harvester would be to cut the crop and harvest the grain. So that's how I'm taking the stance, is we'll just use it to mow, and we'll pull the baler with a conventional tractor behind it. And we've already basically cleared that. We've already talked about that, and old guy farmer basically said, yeah, the Big M would fall under the exempt status as far as the horsepower rating goes. Now it is fairly expensive as far as daily maintenance and hourly. You know, if we were to lease it, it would cost a fairly good penny to lease. It already costs a pretty good penny to buy. I think it's like $180,000. But if you compare the cost of running 2 tractors and 2 mowers and the time it takes, I think the Big M is going to be well worth it since we're making all these investments in our fields. We'll probably pick the Ford back up. It's incredibly slow, but it's incredibly cheap for its horsepower. And with that new bale trailer that also can transport equipment, we can basically negate some of that slowness. So we could possibly seriously look at going over to the cow area and using that free grass, as opposed to when it took basically an entire day to drive over there, bale it, and come back. Maybe we can get it all done in less than an entire day, maybe half a day, since we're not taking so long to drive over there. And then that would let us be more efficient with our time. And the fact that it holds 42 bales is incredible. I think the flatbed semi-trailer, I think it only holds 32 or 36. And it stacks them 2 wide and basically 3 stacks high. It's pretty awesome how it stacks. We'll be able to see how it stacks once we get around to selling our bales. I do want to sell 1 silage bale today just to see what the price looks like. I don't expect the price to peak until day 4 or 5 of winter. So we're still a little bit early on that. If you're not watching Old Guy Farmer, he is now in year 2. He started spring, year 2. The first day of his spring was frozen ground, so he is basically waiting for the day 2 of spring before he can do any field work. I just saw GrizzlyBearSims in stream, and he's in day 2 of autumn, so he's basically 1 full season behind us at this point. Trucker Brad, I think, is in either early summer. I think he's in early summer, maybe even midsummer, because I saw him in an Old Guy Farmer stream this morning, and he was making a comment about the price of cows, which was $3,900, which is actually the cheapest that cows will get with seasons. So Jimmy asks, would it be more feasible to buy or lease your equipment? And that is something that is the eternal question, I think, of seasons. And it depends on, I would say it depends on the piece of equipment. If we were doing conventional farming, we would most definitely want to lease our harvester, because we only need the harvester during a very short window of time in autumn. So once a year we need our harvester, and we need it for maybe, depending on the number of fields we have, maybe 3 days. 4 days at the max. And we're probably only going to put, well, at 15 times speed, if we use it for 4 days, we can't put more than probably 6 hours on it before we just flat out run out of time. So we would definitely lease a harvester. What I'm doing is all grass and silage work. So I plan on putting a fair number of hours on the Big M, mowing all those fields multiple times. I figure on putting a fair number of hours on a tractor and a baler to obviously bale up all those bales. And I've basically had done some math, and at 15 times speed, if we worked 24 hours a day, that's 96 minutes of operating time on a piece of equipment per day, so an hour and a half. If we're able to start mowing in late autumn, let's say game day 5 of autumn, so we would be able to mow all of our game day 5 of spring, sorry. We'd be able to mow for 12 game days of the full summer and autumn season, as well as 2 additional game days in spring. So that would be 14 game days that we would be able to use a baler, a tractor, and the Big M. 14 game days times the potential of working 24 hours a day is a whole lot of hours. And if you look at the per hour price of a tractor, a baler, and the Big M, and times that by 14, and then take the day cost and times it by 14, it's, on some of the equipment I was looking at, it was basically almost the purchase price of the piece of equipment, because we would be using it so frequently for so many days. So it's better for me to buy the equipment, use it, and sell it. Because what we found with year 1, on most of the stuff that we've sold, because it's grass stuff, is that we typically have been able to sell it back for about half price. So we lose half of the object's value. Now, there was an interesting quirk with the Ford tractors where that little rule did not hold. We were able to get significantly more than half price back, even after putting 9 hours or 8 hours on each of those tractors. But in general, it's about half of what we get back. So my plan is to basically purchase all of our grass equipment come mid-autumn or mid-spring, and at that time sell our log trailer and sell our Scorpion, because I don't plan on having any time to do bales or any time to do logs, I'm sorry, once we start our grass work. And then we will basically bale our grass equipment until the first day of winter. On the first day of winter in year 2, we will sell all that stuff back. We will buy our Ponzi Ergo, and we'll buy a log trailer again, and we'll get to logging. And the reason we want to sell all this stuff right away when we don't need it anymore and buy it back later is to minimize our daily vehicle running expenses and daily maintenance, vehicle maintenance expenses. Because the challenge is, after 3 years, whoever has the most money after selling all of your crops, all of your equipment, all of your land through the Bank of Hagenstadt mod, whoever has the most money wins. Yes, the hours on the hours on the machine are real life hour, real time, and not game time. So for example, in a stream way back in, I think maybe early summer, we bought a fertilizer or a manure spreader, and we spread manure on field 11. Field 11, right over there where the sheep used to be. So we spread manure on field 11, and it took, I don't know, it probably took 3.5, 4 game hours to do. It might have took even longer than that. But if you look closely at the stream when I sell it back, it said it had basically a half an hour of usage on it. So if an hour of game time is 6 minutes, then how many hours would pass in 30 real life minutes? And that's basically how it worked out. So if you lease the hour timer, like down here we have 0.3 hours. Now in missions, time goes back to 1x, but anyway, if you look at our Scorpion when we finally get in that later today, it's going to have like 2 hours on it, but trust me, we've used that thing for multiple game days. So the hour usage is real life hours and not game hours. So if you're going to use it lightly, like when we buy this field, we're going to use our fertilizer spreader that we own to fertilize it. But I'm going to lease a tractor and a seeder to seed this field, because I don't need to seed the field I don't need to own a seeder, because I only need to seed this field once with grass. So going forward, we're going to have smaller land acquisitions, or less frequent land acquisitions. So there's no reason to own like a plow or a seeder. We'll just lease that. Did I stop making sense, Ed? You said lost count there. Yeah, this challenge basically forces you to play legit, because it's all about money earned. You can only use 250 horsepower tractors. You're not allowed to sell loose silage at the BGA or anywhere else. So planting corn and just chopping corn and putting in the bunker and doing that's not allowed. Okay, well, we'll see here in a bit. We're over halfway done. We'll turn around and start filling in the field. And the rules on this challenge dictate that everything must be streamed. So there can't be any off-camera work. And as such, that's why we start our streams at the game loading screen and show the mod screen and show the map loading, and that we don't just start in game, is so that in theory, if you wanted to audit, you could document the date or the game time and the money amount when the stream ended, with the game time and the money amount of when the next stream starts, to know that you have definitely not come in, done some work off camera, and somehow managed to, you know, come in, buy something that's big, do something real quick, sell it back, and things like that. Okay, yeah, the console guys, I feel a little sorry for you guys, from the standpoint that I think there's so much potential in the game that console folks don't get to take advantage of. Seasons is one of those things, and you know, the sad truth is console guys might not get seasons until Farm Sim 2019. You know, there's maybe the possibility that it could be some type of a DLC at some point after the Platinum DLC, but I wouldn't hold out hope. I would hold out that maybe they would bring it in for you guys as a base part of the game in the next full edition. And now that I've had the opportunity to play seasons, both off screen and in this challenge, I would say that playing without seasons is pretty boring, because you start a map, and typically most maps you start with have crops ready to harvest. So you jump in, you start harvesting, so you have crop right away to sell. You can plant whatever you want, whenever you want. You know, if things aren't ready, you just fast forward, and then you can start harvesting. And really, it's just plant, fertilize, harvest, repeat. Plant, fertilize, harvest, repeat. And it's just an endless repeating cycle. Whereas with seasons, you jump in, it's early spring. If you start planting a bunch of stuff, you'll probably lose it, because the temperature is probably too cold. If you play on hard mode, then you probably don't have any crops to start out with, and you start with $15,000 and whatever equipment comes with the map. If you don't cheat any money in, then the only way to get money is to sell stuff off, buy cheaper stuff, and slowly plant your crops. Wait until the middle of autumn or the end of autumn, and then you can actually harvest something, and then you actually have money. Buying animals right away is extremely difficult, because you don't have anything to feed them. You're going to have to buy in food. If you don't water or feed your animals, they will die. So if you spent $5,000 on a cow and you don't give it water or food right away, well, you have a $5,000 corpse in your barn that you have to get rid of. Not really. I mean, you don't have to actually get rid of it, but... And with seasons, animals prices fluctuate. So if you go in day one and buy a bunch of cows, you're going to be paying a very big premium for those cows in early spring. Now, yes, they die in seasons. If you don't feed them or keep water, you will see come midnight in the little status up here, you know, in the upper right, you'll see, you know, 3 animals died or something. And then obviously that's money lost. That's productivity lost. So like pigs. Pigs are a great example of the variable animal economy. If you buy pigs right away, as soon as you open the map up and have seasons, the pig's going to cost you a whole lot of money. It's going to cost you more than $3,000 a pig, that's for sure. And then you got to have all these crops to feed them. If you wait until, I think it's the end of summer, maybe, when pigs are the cheapest, you can actually pick pigs up for somewhere under $2,000. So you can pay less for a pig if you wait for the appropriate time, when the game considers pigs the least desirable from the standpoint of productivity. So we bought 100 sheep for just over $3,000 a head. And of course, sheep are typically $4,000 a piece. There are other times in the game where sheep are more than $4,000 because the sheep are very profitable at those times. So if you try to buy sheep in spring, they're going to cost you a lot more than $4,000. We bought our sheep in early autumn, I think, or mid-autumn, and that's when Seasons considers them the cheapest or the least desirable to have. So we bought 100 head. We paid just over $300,000 for 100 head. And now we have to feed them all winter and all of autumn. But we will have 100 head of sheep for $100,000 less than we would have if we bought them at their normal price. And we'll be able to take full advantage of their productivity come spring. I think pigs are a long-term investment, and fellow YouTube personality Mark DuPont, who does some really awesome videos, I think he has a career in video TV production, so he is incredibly proficient with video editing software and does really awesome videos in general. He's doing a series on Orchard Farm, Dusty Dave's Orchard Farm, where he's just doing pigs. So he's a pig farmer. Now, where he went wrong is he bought pigs right away. And from day one, he was trying to feed 100 pigs. And obviously, he had to buy in food for those 100 pigs all of spring, all of summer, and most of autumn. Now, come autumn, he's able to harvest crops and store those crops to feed his pigs. But in the meantime, his 100 pigs have reproduced to be 160 pigs. So now he's got to feed over winter 160 pigs. Those 160 pigs will probably turn into about 220, 230 pigs by the end of spring. And then he's got to feed 230 pigs until the end of autumn, when his crops are back in. And then he'll feed those pigs throughout the whole year, the rest of the year. And then come spring, the end of spring, he'll probably have close to 400 pigs by the end of the third spring. Now, if you then sell the pigs at their highest price, you'll definitely be able to make a very big profit. But you've got to basically have the pigs for 3 years before you can get that profit, because you have to slowly build up their numbers through their natural reproduction, and at the same time you've got to feed those darn things for 3 whole years, or at least 2 whole years, before you can do it. So if I were to buy pigs, which I'm not on this challenge because I want to win, and pigs I think are just a big money sink. If I were to buy pigs, I would wait until after we've harvested all our crops in year 1, and then we would have basically planted crops to feed those pigs in year 1, but I wouldn't buy them until after I've got all the crops in and I'm able to hopefully feed the number of pigs that I need to feed throughout winter and spring and summer of the following year. The same would hold for cows. I wouldn't buy cows right away. I would probably buy cows after we've been able to do our first cutting of grass, so that we had some hay, we had some silage. We would probably need to buy straw bales in if we didn't wait until after our wheat or barley harvest. And you know what we did with sheep is we waited until sheep were the cheapest that they would ever be, and that's when we bought them. If we buy more sheep, which we probably will next year, we will wait until they're the cheapest possible and buy a bunch more sheep in. And then in year 3, we're going to sell all the sheep we have when the sheep are the highest price possible. And now that may mean that we sell our sheep in spring when they're still being profitable, with wool production, but it's possible, I think, to buy at the lowest point and sell at the highest point and either lose no money on our animals or actually make a little bit of a profit on our animals just from the raw buying and selling of them, let alone, you know, the resource that they produce. So we'll have to see how that works out. I think that's why this challenge is so interesting, is because it's a multi-year challenge. There have been seasons challenges that basically just span one year. But this, it spans 3 years, so you've got to make decisions in winter and autumn of year 1 as to what you're going to do in spring of year 2. The same with autumn and winter of year 2 as to what you're going to do in year 3. And then year 3, since you know you end at the end of the year, you sell stuff as soon as you can when the price is good. So I think cows are the most profitable, but cows consume the most time. If we weren't time strapped on this challenge, I would buy cows. But I've been watching Old Guy Farmer, who has, I think, 50 cows on the challenge, and he spends a good, I would say, 1 in every 3 days he spends basically just working on his cows, if it's not 1 in every other day. And that's between feeding them, watering, you know, straw, mixing power food, and other things. And then you've got to have a power food mixer. You got to have, in theory, a harvester, because you've got to have straw, so you're going to have to harvest the grain. You're going to have a baler to bale up the straw and the hay. If you do loose silage, then you'll have to have all the stuff that requires for loose silage, or you'll have to have a bale wrapper for silage bales. In seasons, silage bales don't ferment right away. You have to wait 1/3 of a season for the grass wrapped bale to become silage. So you kind of have to plan that out. So, you know, and they make different amounts of milk at different times during the year. So I think they're very profitable over winter with respect to milk production. But milk production is at its lowest over the summer, when in theory the cows are reproducing, and therefore some or most of the milk is going towards the calves. So I say it's been extremely foggy. I hope the fog or the clouds lift as we get later through the day. So seasons really does change your gameplay. Does change your strategies a bit. I think sheep are the best bang for the amount of time that you put into them, because they consume a fairly low amount of food. They're trouble-free as far as they just take grass and water, pretty much. I don't consider feeding them, or they take hay and water. I really don't consider feeding them grass, because grass will rot, and if you let's say you make a bunch of grass bales, in 2 days those grass bales will be gone because they would have rotted away. So seasons really makes making hay desirable, because hay has a storage life of an indefinite storage time as long as it's kept dry. This map has a snow mask, so if you leave one bale of hay outside and one bale of hay under a shed, under a roof, assuming the map author has put a snow mask under the roof, then the bale that is outside, if it rains, it will rot away after 2 days. The bale that's inside will stay dry and therefore be perfectly fine. You're exactly right, Ed. In fact, GrizzlyBearSims, who's had the privilege of playing with seasons since I think January or February, as a member of their promotions group to basically promote seasons through online play with it, has basically said that he has zero interest in playing on a map without seasons enabled. Simply because it's not interesting enough. It's just too much of you know, too repetitive. Rain comes through the roof because Giants has let's say not done a great job with modeling a roof. So in theory, I guess they could put, well, the roofs have collisions because you can stand on top of a tractor. You could jump and stand on top of a shed roof, so it's not like you fall through it. But for some reason, they did not model that rain paid attention to structures or things with collisions, and therefore rain just passes straight through it. I mean, if we were able to get into that shed right over there when it was raining, rain would probably pass straight through that too. Now, Cattle and Crops put out a video a couple months ago where they demonstrated that they did not have rain coming through the roof of a tractor or through a building. And if you actually stood at the edge of a roof, you could see a distinct line where the ground outside was wet and the ground under the roof was dry. So it's kind of a visual thing when it rains and you're inside the tractor, and it's like, why is there rain inside the tractor? Alright, so we're almost done this mission. It's taken a fair bit of time, but what we're getting is we're getting a free plowed field out of it. If we had to use real game time to do this, it would have probably taken almost an entire day just to plow this field. So we are using basically, I think, 45 minutes of real time. Only 45 minutes of game time have passed while we've done this. We're going to earn almost $10,000, and we're going to have a field now that's fully plowed, so that when we do put grass on it, we'll get the full growth potential out of it. So there we go. So we're not going to run this mission. I just want to see what they want. So he wants to cultivate this field, and he wants $4,600 for it. Now let's look at our forecast. Tomorrow it's going to be frozen. We will not be able to work this ground from tomorrow all the way into spring. So should we buy this field now or not? I don't know. Let's ponder that for a little bit. If we bought it now, the only thing I would do with it would probably be to fertilize it. I can't plant. See, we can't plant grass until the third day of spring. So since we can't plant grass until the third day of spring, it looks like the third day of spring right now is going to be warm enough that the grass will not be frozen. So I think we'll just leave it. And tomorrow, game day tomorrow, let's see, maybe we can cultivate it. I don't know. I don't know if we'll be able to cultivate frozen ground. Probably can't. But tomorrow it might not be a cultivate mission. Maybe tomorrow it's a fertilizing mission. And if I can get another free coat of fertilizer off of that field before we go and buy it, it sounds great to me. So you see the lots of the trees don't have leaves on them anymore if you haven't seen winter, a winter season yet. Alright, let's see. What are we going to get for this log? No, we don't want to sell this log trailer. What am I doing? I want to sell a flatbed. We almost made a horrible mistake. You shouldn't you should have been screaming at me in chat. What are you doing? It's the wrong trailer. That's the wrong road. Hi Mark, how you doing? We were just talking about you and your great pig experiment. Yeah, we didn't pick up our eggs. We don't have too many, but... Hey, is Grizzly still streaming, or has he finished his day out? Yeah, I was basically telling him that I think as you have found out, your biggest mistake was buying those pigs right away. That a better strategy would have been to obviously wait until they're the cheapest, and then buy them up, which is probably going to be after you've pretty much harvested lots of the crops that you deliberately planted to feed the pigs in the spring. And then you really need to carry those pigs throughout probably 2 full years before you sell them at their highest peak to make an actual profit. can sell this for $21,000, and we can buy our new trailer for $15,000. Cha-ching. Gone. Now that trailer, I could probably have made money by leasing it, because the usage timer on it would have not ticked up when it's just sitting in the yard. It would have only ticked up, I think, while we were actually using it. So I think we probably should have leased it, but it's too late for that now. So Mark, I don't know if you've seen this trailer. It was on the Mod Hub just the other day. It's an auto-load bale trailer that also has ramps on the back, so you can drive around and put equipment on it. We're going to run over here. We're going to pick up that that stray bale that we found the other day, and we're going to sell it and see what we get. I think the price is still increasing. Yep, see, I can lower the ramps, raise the ramps, and the ramps, when you're transporting bales, basically act like a a rack to hold the bales in place. And we can use it to transport our pallets, we can use it to transport our bales, and we can use it to transport an incredibly slow Ford with a baler attached across the map at speed. I do wish this darn truck would have a little better headlights. Let's see. Let's see what we get. 1,073. We can get a little better price if we wait. Like I say, I'm expecting the best price to be in day 4 and 5 and 6 of winter. But I just wanted to check. Old Guy Farmer is in the house. How you doing? There goes our train. We can also drive around a ridiculously slow Scorpion with that trailer. I think if you could get log forks on the side, or whatever you call those those things, that trailer would be the best trailer in the world, because you could do basically everything with it. I guess we should turn off our headlights before we drain the battery. You all missed the 45-minute plow mission that we did on this field over here. If you're wondering how on earth could we have a stream that's been going for an hour and it's only noon on game day 2. Why is it going to be a challenge to set up the next challenge? Well, it's only day 2. Let me put the forecast back up for you. We're going to get frozen ground tomorrow, and it's going to be frozen for the rest of winter. And it might be frozen all the way up to game day 3 of autumn. We'll just have to see how the temperatures work out. We might get unfrozen ground in game day 2. It's hard to say with the low temperature 29 and a high of 53 the day before. Well, yeah, with those big fields, unless you put some crazy rule like no equipment over 10 meters. Then it would become a challenge of monotony as you try to plow a 50-hectare field with a 6-meter plow or something crazy like that. Yeah, I think a max of 250 horsepower on your skid steer. But for being a normal size map, it's got some pretty big fields. I'd say it doesn't feel like it's a normal size map. Man, these are not one to cut. Is that at 15 times speed? Or is that at 5x or something? It's probably at 5x, right? Well, that's why you have 12-day seasons. So if it takes you 2 game days or 2.5 game days to plow a field, it's no big deal. Makes for some monotonous streams. You could go for the super marathon of wait for 1.1 of seasons and go for 24 days seasons. I'm assuming you can't cultivate in frozen ground? Or can you cultivate frozen ground? Did you try fertilizing frozen ground? Ah, it's so nice to have clear skies. It would have been easier to plow that field at night the way it was so foggy. Yeah, the other day I basically read the changelog off as we were running a mission, and one of the changes was the introduction of longer seasons, up to 24 days. They were also going to fix the little bug where grass, if it's stored in a tipper, would not rot. Apparently also if hay or straw is in a tipper, oh, that was awful. If hay or straw is in an uncovered tipper, right now it won't rot. But that will be fixed in the next release also, to where if you have a tipper that doesn't have a cover and it rains, if it's got hay, straw, or grass in it, well, the grass would rot anyway. But if it has hay or grass or straw in it, sorry, hay or straw, then it would rot in the tipper. Well, I asked because that field right there, we did a plow mission today. We just looked to see what the next mission would be, and right now the next mission is cultivate. But with the forecast saying that it's going to be 27 and 25 tomorrow, sometime over this game night it should freeze. These little level trees have been causing me the worst problems. So basically I was debating on buying that field now or waiting until we ran another couple missions. But if it's going to be frozen ground between now and spring, if we can't cultivate, then I wondered if maybe we would be presented with a fertilized mission tomorrow instead. Or the field may be in the state that it's going to be in until spring. Yeah, that would be way crazy. And it would take at least 6 months. Because the problem with multiplayer is now you've got 2 people or 3 people, however many people are in the multiplayer. You've got all of their schedules to have to work around to stream. Whereas at least with single player, then it's your own schedule that you have to work. So it's part of the challenge would be finding people that want to be on your team that would have a similar personal schedule to stream. So that you're not like, oh, well, I can't stream today because I got this going on, and then when they can stream, you can't stream. Ed's asking, when is the release of the update going to be? Right now, we don't know. Right now, it's kind of in a open beta test, I think. A few weeks ago, the season guy, I can't pronounce his name, it starts with an R. He messaged me over on the Farm Sim forums. It basically said that he saw me posting about the the seasons topic a fair bit. I guess it sounded like I knew what I was talking about, so he wanted to know if I wanted to be on their testing team. I said that would be an outstanding, great honor to do that. And then I think last week I saw them basically put an open post in the FarmSim forums looking for beta testers. So my guess is they would be pretty close. Oh, we just lost the whole greenhouse. My guess is they'd be pretty close to wanting to release it once they have, if they're asking for a whole bunch of people to basically test it, making the final push. Yeah, I think 3 days you could really get hung out by some very misfortunate weather. Oh no. That's correct. With respect to the mask automatically going under placeable buildings. They supposedly have that worked out now. You know, I was excited to be able to test seasons because I've been wanting to play with seasons since I saw Grizzly Bear playing with it back in February. And then I see Old Guy Farmer doing a silly stream about some silly single-player contests. And now I don't have time to test anything. And I'm not going to dare bring a testing version of seasons in on the contest and completely ruin my chances at winning by having something horrible go wrong. Yeah, I know to have a separate mod folder, but what I'm saying is there's physically not enough time in the day for me to do that. And to do this. And to put out map videos every couple times a week. Now tomorrow I do plan on doing a little bit of a marathon. Because I'm only working half a day tomorrow. So I should be able to put out at least 2 streams, if not 3 streams in the afternoon. Hey Eli, how you doing? All right. Well, it's winter time on the farm. What else do you do in the winter other than care for your critters? And when your critters are sheep, they don't need much care. I do need to get them some hay and water. So I don't know if anybody saw, but there is currently a Steam sale of Farm Sim 17, 40% off. So for anybody watching that doesn't have Farm Sim and is interested in it, now would be a great time on Steam to pick it up. I think the sale runs for about another 14 hours. There's also a sale on the Coon DLC. And on the map making note, Stevie put up his base starting map over a PCSG earlier today. Apparently has all of his industry on the map, as well as its multi-crop. So it has the extra crops in it and a whole bunch of other stuff. So it would be, I think, an outstanding starter map for anybody. my. We can't have that. Wow, that's weird. There we go. Hey, the squad, how you doing? What's up? After we sell this load of logs, we've got to go tend to our sheeps. They're getting a bit low. I don't know why you're stopped in the middle of the road. We're going to try to be one of the only contestants today that doesn't roll their log trailer. Okay, the squad. I think I remember seeing the Grand Theft Auto besides your name before. We've got lots of cars that are just stopped in the middle of the road. Yours counts double because you rolled 2 trailers at the same time. I don't know. I think whoever edited the map slowed all these cars down to where they don't go very fast. Oh, I did wrap it around a tree though. I get credit for wrapping a truck around a tree. I don't know which is better, rolling 2 log trailers or wrapping a trailer and truck around a tree. Does have good brakes. think it needs 2 bales. They probably need 2 bales. I'm still sore for losing all that hay the last day of autumn. That was cruel. I think I'm going to need a rear weight. So I'm using OBS. It's free. It seems fairly easy to use. I think Old Guy Farmer uses XSplit. So we're gonna have to fill this thing up. Really do like the reflections of the water there. This trailer is part of the Hoff Bergman equipment pack. I think that's over at PCSG or over at LS Mod Company. So it's nice, it's cheap, it holds 10,000 liters, or 8,000, sorry. The trailer has two variants. It has a flatbed and a tanker. The flatbed obviously doesn't have the tank on it. Alright, see you later, old guy farmer. I really like that trailer because it's kind of rustic. It's kind of oldie looking. It's cheap, and it has more capacity than the in-game standard water trailer. $3,700. All right. The spewing water. It does have a water gauge also. I see we don't have our sheep on the other side of the fence today. I think we picked up all the logs along that side of the road. Yeah, it looks like it. We'll have to get to grinding our stumps here someday. We should probably check on our greenhouses, but I'm pretty sure they're okay. I think we stocked them yesterday. Yeah, that's the water trailer I had down here at the greenhouses, but when we got some more greenhouses, we went ahead and got the big water trailer, so we weren't constantly filling it up after every 2.5 greenhouses. I was thinking we'd see if we could get all these logs on one load, but that's definitely not going to happen the way things are stacking up here. Alright, let's check on our greenhouses. How are they doing? That one's pretty good. So these all should be filled up to about the same level. Alright, they're good. Alright, so it is 10:49. We'll have to see what time it is after we get this load of logs done and we get back up here to our log area. I do not intend on working all through the night. I would like to go ahead and sell those other logs, but if that's going to get us too close to midnight to risk not being able to fast forward to morning, I would rather fast forward to morning than be stuck. Like he's parked in. You know what they're doing? I think they're trying to spot some deer up in those hills. They're just sitting there in the road. Be nice to get over 800,000 for the night, for the day. Oh, this looks like it's a nice load. We can see our bale price is still climbing. 99,000 in wood sales. 16,000, that's beautiful. Look at all those greenhouses. 50,000, that's where we plopped down 2 greenhouses. That's where we sold our trailer and we bought our other trailer. Alright, I think we're doing great because we've got over $300,000 just sitting around in silage bales waiting on the great time to sell. So we're really sitting around 1.1 million at this point, maybe 1.2 million depending on how everything rounds out. We also have a fair bit of land investment. I think we've got more land than most of the competitors in the challenge at this point. As you can see, we own fields 11, 12, 14, 15, 23, 24, and very soon we will own fields 26. And then we'll start working on field 22 as far as bringing it down. My goal is to basically own that whole corner of the map. So it is 11:40. We definitely don't have time to load up all these logs, I don't think. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on the time. We're definitely not having time to sell them. We got them loaded. Let's load them a little bit better. Alright, let's save and Alt in. And it's midwinter, 6 a.m. $821,000. Very, very nice. Frozen ground. We are not going to be able to plow that. Let's just look. So almost $17,000 in income from those greenhouses. 1920 in animal upkeep. That's pretty standard. Look at that. Vehicle running cost is way down. Property maintenance is up. I don't know what this is. Unless it's our tractor and our stuff. And then I don't know what minus 753 is. What did we buy? We didn't buy fuel. We didn't buy fertilizer. We're up 80,000 for yesterday. All right, let's check. Yep, that's what I was getting ready to check. Was this? No mission available. So it looks like we won't be able to do any more missions on this field until spring. No mission available. No mission available. I think that's a pretty good trend. No mission available. So we are done doing missions until springtime. $372,000. We'll think about that. We might just buy that tomorrow. And then we'll try to fertilize it and see how far we get. So we're going to save, close out to the main menu. Thank you guys for watching. I do plan on streaming a bit earlier tomorrow. Like I said earlier in the stream, I'm working a half day tomorrow, so I'll be home in the afternoon. And the kids will be, or at least the youngest kid will be still at daycare. So I'm hoping to pound out winter day 3 and winter day 4 at least tomorrow afternoon. Depending on how much we get done, we might get winter day 5 done tomorrow afternoon. And then, you know, we'll do a normal stream in the evening tomorrow as planned. So, Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy farming.